Hello students, I welcome you all to the online class of Physical Education class 12. So today I have come with a new chapter, that is chapter 7. The name of the chapter is Physiology and Injuries in Sports. So as you can see from the name of the chapter, students, the two words have been adjoined in this chapter. The two words are physiology and the second word is injuries. So here we will come to know about our physiological systems. Physiology means the various functional part, the various functioning of our various systems of the body, as well as injuries. Injuries in playfield, injuries in games and sports are very common, students. So we will be learning all these things under this chapter. So without wasting any more time, let us see what are all the things we are going to understand in this chapter. So this is the content, students. So let us check the content of this chapter. At first we will be understanding about the physiological factors determining the components of physical fitness. Next, the effects of exercises on cardiorespiratory system. After that, we will be understanding about effects of exercise on muscular system. Next, we will be discussing about the sports injuries in detail. We will be covering the types of sports injuries. We will be covering its cause, how to prevent, what are all the treatments. We will be covering entire thing, students, under injury section. Last but not the least, we will be covering about first aid. We will come to know about first aid. We will come to know about its aims and objectives. So this is all about the content. These topics we are going to learn under this topic. So let us start. So physiological factors determining the components of physical fitness. Now students, if I ask you what are physical components? What are the various components of physical fitness? I am very sure you all are well aware. These are the components of physical fitness. They are strength, endurance, speed, flexibility and coordinative abilities. So we are going to discuss the physiological factors of each components of physical fitness in detailed way. So the first one, as you can see in the screen, students, the first one is physiological factors determining strength. So the first factor is the muscle size. So every individual is not having similar sort of muscle size. Some are having longer muscles, some are having shorter muscles. So the individuals who are having long size muscles, it is very much prone that they will be possessing more strength. You see, strength of the muscle depends on size of the muscles. So, more or larger the size, more will be the strength. Next is body weight. Body weight is another factor that determines strength. More the body weight, more will be the strength. Individuals who are heavier are stronger than the lightweight individuals. So the individuals who possesses more body weight, they can experience more strength in comparison to lean and thin individuals. Take examples. Examples like wrestling. Examples like throwing events in games and sports, in athletics. Throwing events like shot put, discus, javelin and hammer throw. So there are many games and sports students where the body weight is given much more priority. So the third factor we are going to discuss is muscle composition. Now when we talk of muscle composition, we have to bring the fibers, the red fibers and the white fibers, that is slow twitch fiber and fast twitch fiber. So the composition of our muscles, it mainly depends on our strength. So muscular system is composed of white muscle and red muscle fibers. The percentage of these muscles is genetically determined and cannot be changed through training. Up to some extent, students, up to some extent they can be changed through training, but not a major difference will not take place. The fourth one is nerve impulse. The intuitions, the signals that are sent by our nervous system, it depends on strength also. So speed of nerve impulses determines strength. How faster the signals are being sent by our central nervous system determines strength. So students, under physiological factors determining strength, we have come to know the four factors. They are muscle size, body weight, muscle composition and nerve impulse. Moving ahead to next slide. Our next slide is regarding physiological factors determining endurance. So what are all the physiological factors that determine endurance? The first one is aerobic capacity. Now whenever we talk about aerobic capacity, the word aerobic means to work for longer duration of time in presence of oxygen, or aerobic activity means the activities performed in presence of oxygen. And generally the long duration activities demands more oxygen. So endurance, what is endurance? What does endurance mean? Endurance means to work for longer duration of time without getting fatigued, without getting tired. So depending on that, aerobic capacity of individual plays a major role under endurance. More the aerobic capacity, better the endurance would be in the individual. The second, when we talk of aerobic capacity consists of its four subparts. They are oxygen intake, oxygen transport, oxygen uptake and energy reserve. Now oxygen intake means the amount of oxygen we are taking in. After that, oxygen transport. When we take in, we breathe in the oxygen need to be transported to various working muscles so that they can work much more efficiently. They remains active for longer duration of time. That is oxygen transport. Next one is oxygen uptake. That is the inhaled oxygen that need to be transported and utilized by our working muscles. Next is energy reserve, means to retain oxygen, that is energy reserve. So moving ahead to next slide, the second physiological factors determining endurance is lactic acid tolerance. Now students, after working for longer duration, we experience pain in our lower body. That is nothing but a signal that our muscle groups are starting to get tired, our muscle groups are starting to get exhausted. That is, lactic acid concentration starts developing within our muscles. Every muscle is having some potentiality, some limitations to work. So when our muscle groups crosses that limitation, they starts getting tired, they starts getting exhausted. So this factor, that is lactic acid tolerance, is only made possible through better aerobic endurance, better aerobic capacity. If the individual is having better endurance, that means lactic acid can be tolerated for maximum time. And when lactic acid can be tolerated, can be coped up, the individual can work for longer duration of time without getting fatigued, without getting tired. Third one is movement economy. That means there will be an economy in movement. Movement economy means our energy can be saved. If more there is movement which is not required, if we possess such movements, what is the use? Each body movement requires energy. So, if our body movements are in a proper way, in a systematic way, then we can conserve the wastage of energy, which we can further utilize. Fourth one is, students, muscle composition. Again, the same point we have discussed under strength also. Muscle composition again means white muscle fiber and red muscle fiber. So, under endurance, if the individual possesses red muscle fiber, or the proportion of red muscle fiber is more in the individual, then the individual is more suitable, more likely to perform well in endurance activities or long duration activities. Moving ahead, so under the physiological factors determining endurance, students, we have discussed first of all aerobic capacity, followed by lactic acid tolerance, then movement economy and muscle composition. These four physiological factors we have discussed under endurance. Moving ahead to next physical fitness component, that is speed. So let us understand what are all the physiological factors that determine speed. So first of all, it is mobility of our nervous system. Now when we talk of mobility of our nervous system, means how fast signals can be sent from our central nervous system to various parts of muscles. I give you a very small example, students. A 100-meter sprinter is sitting on the starting block. Now, the starter gives the command go, or there is a gunfire, or blow up whistle, sound of whistle comes, or the sound of clapper comes. Now, the athlete whosoever will be getting a better start will be winning the race in 100 meter. So, it depends on the mobility of the nervous system. We hear the sound of gunfire or the whistle or the clapper. Quickly, as soon as the signal has been given, how fast, how quickly the athlete can start, can burst out from the starting block depends on the mobility of nervous system. How fast the signal has been sent from our central nervous system to our working muscles, that now you can start. That is the mobility of our nervous system, students. Next one is muscle composition. Here also. So this muscle composition plays a very vital role. Under endurance, we discussed about red fibers. Red fibers are also known as slow twitch fibers. But when we are talking of speed, the individuals who are having more proportion of white muscle fiber, we also call it fast twitch fibers. So more the proportion of white fibers or the fast twitch fibers, the individual will be more preferred, the individual will be more suitable, the individual will be performing better in the activities that demand much more speed. Next is explosive strength. Now students, explosive strength means the combination of speed and strength. I repeat, explosive strength means the combination of speed and strength. A 100-meter sprinter runs with the explosive power of his leg muscle more forcefully. A 100-meter sprinter hits the ground, hits the track forces, the track propels the athlete forward. That is the explosive strength of his leg. His thigh muscles better. So moving ahead, the fourth physiological factors determining speed is flexibility. More the flexibility, more the elasticity in joints, better will be the speed. Next is biochemical reserves and metabolic power. This also helps in the development of speed, students. So, if we move back slightly, just see what are all the physiological factors that determine our speed. They are mobility of the nervous system, they are muscle composition, explosive strength, flexibility, and biochemical reserve and metabolic power. So these are the physiological factors that determine an individual's speed. Moving ahead, students, to another component, another physical fitness component, that is flexibility. Now what is flexibility? Flexibility means maximum range of movement within our joints. Yes, students. So we were discussing about the physiological factors determining flexibility. So under flexibility, the first physiological factor is muscle strength. It is a very vital factor, students, keeping in mind that the weak muscles, they cannot exert appropriate amount of force they cannot generate appropriate amount of flexibility within the joints. That is why our strength of muscles is a very vital factor, keeping in mind the flexibility of our joints. Next one is joint structure. So this is also similarly a very important physiological factors for the creating or developing much more flexibility. That is, structure of a joint is limiting factor for flexibility. Some of the joints intrinsically have a greater range of motion comparatively to others. Third one is age and gender. Now, the factor age and gender, they are very much real, students. As the individual grows older, our flexibility starts declining. Flexibility is more in case of younger child. As we grow, the flexibility starts declining. There is a downfall in flexibility. Similarly, age and gender. So gender means male and female. So there also flexibility varies. That is why age and gender are also one of the very important physiological factor that determine flexibility. Next one is stretchability of muscles. Better the stretchability in our muscles, better would be the flexibility. Body temperature. When the body temperature will be more, better would be the flexibility. I give you here one example, students. When early in the morning when we get up from the bed, if we are asked to do some activity immediately after waking up, what do we feel? We feel very lethargic, very laziness immediately after waking up in the morning. That time we don't feel comfortable to participate in any activity because that time our body temperature is at normal state. But as we participate in activities in due course in a day, our body temperature increases, enhances. That is the only reason, students, why before participating in any games and sports, we go for a proper warming up session. We all are well aware that warming up session helps in increasing our body temperature and also minimizes the chances of getting injured. Next one is previous injury. An individual's previous injury may create hindrance in flexibility. That is why the previous injuries, keeping in mind about the previous injuries, training session must be planned. Injuries should not be taken lightly, students. Injuries must be properly healed before taking part in any training session. So students, let us check what are all the physiological factors that determine flexibility. We have come to know about muscle strength, we have come to know about joint structure, we have come to know about age and gender. After that, stretchability of our muscles, we have come to know about the body temperature and previous injury. Now, these all physiological factors put a great impact over various components of physical fitness. Moving ahead, students, next our topic is effects of exercises on cardiorespiratory system. Now, when we talk of cardiorespiratory system, it is the combination of cardiovascular system and respiratory system. Although in your syllabus, board has combined both these systems together, but here we will be discussing both the systems. We will be discussing effects of exercise on cardiovascular system first, then we will be discussing about effects of exercises on respiratory system. For your betterment only, students, we are going to discuss both the systems in a different way. So let's start. So first we are going to discuss effects of exercises on cardiovascular system. Now, what do we understand by cardiovascular? Cardiovascular means our heart, the life wire of human beings. So, as you can see, the immediate effects of exercises on cardiovascular system. Okay, so what are all the immediate effects? We will also be discussing what are the long-term effects, that also we will be discussing. But here under immediate effects of exercise on cardiovascular system means our heart. So the first one is, it increases heart rate. Regular exercise, and individuals who is participating in regular exercise, what are all the effects on cardiovascular system, on our heart, that we are going to understand, we are going to learn here, students. So please be very, very attentive. So it increases the heart rate. Now, what is the utility? Why our heart rate increases? Now students, the concept is very simple. Whenever we participate in any physical work, in any physical activity, in any exercise, in any games and sports, the demand of oxygen within our muscle groups increases. Now to meet up that demand, the heart rate increases. Now, with the increase in heart rate, what happens? Heart pumps out more blood. We are well aware that blood carries oxygen and necessary minerals with it. So, by pumping out more blood, heart can supply more oxygen to the working muscles, so that muscles can remain active and they can function efficiently, smoothly. Next is increase in stroke volume. What is stroke volume? The amount of blood that can be ejected in each stroke is known as stroke volume. So there is an increase in stroke volume because of regular exercise, students. Next one is increase in cardiac output. Cardiac output is the product of stroke volume and heart rate. I repeat once again, students. Cardiac output is the product of stroke volume and heart rate. So, more the heart rate, there is an increase in stroke volume. So naturally there will be also an increase in cardiac output also. Next, the fourth immediate effects of exercise on cardiovascular system is increase in blood flow. As I told you, students, when we are learning that because of regular exercise there is an increase in heart rate, so it will lead to increase in blood flow also. Each point is related to other point, they are interrelated, students. Heart rate is increased, naturally heart pumps at a faster rate. When heart pumps at a faster rate, there will be an increase in the blood flow also. Next is increase in blood pressure. Obviously, when more blood is moving out of the heart, there will be increase in blood flow, which will lead to increase in blood pressure also. Next is increase in body temperature. Yes, when heart pumps at a faster rate, certainly it will lead to increase in body temperature. Next, as you can see, students, we are going to discuss now the long-term effects. Long-term effects means if an individual continues to participate in exercises, games and sports, activities for longer duration of time. So, what will be the effect of that? So, that we consider under long-term effects. Immediate effect means in a shorter while, what output you are getting. But long-term effects means after years and years of training, what are all the outcomes? So they are again increase in size of the heart. So long-term exercise will lead to a slight enlargement of our heart. Size of heart increases means more amount of blood can be ejected from our heart. When more amount of blood will be moving out, that means more oxygen will be reaching to the working muscles. When more oxygen will be reaching to the working muscles, that will lead to our working muscles remain active, energetic for longer duration of time. Next is stroke volume increases at rest. So during resting period also an individual's stroke volume will be on the higher side. The fourth long-term effects of exercise on our cardiovascular system is increased blood flow. When heart rate will increase, it will naturally lead to increase in blood flow. That is, to supply the muscles with extra oxygen during exercise, the body increases its number of capillaries. Existing capillaries open wider, the blood redistribution more efficient and effective. Decrease in blood pressure. Under immediate effect of exercise, we have understood increase in blood pressure. But with long-term participation in exercises and activities in games and sports, it results to decrease in blood pressure. The individual can regain his lost breath, comes to normal in minimum possible time. That is, decrease blood pressure by up to 10 mmHg at rest. Next is increases in blood volume. So, increases in blood volume due to increase in plasma volume, students. Due to produces more RBC, that is red blood cell, to supply extra oxygen to working muscles during intensive exercise. During strenuous exercise, as I told you, the demand of oxygen within our muscle groups increases. So to meet up that demand, there is an increase in blood volume. More blood is reaching to the working muscles. More blood is carrying more oxygen with it. So moving ahead, next is number 7, that is increase in cardiac output. What is cardiac output? It is the product of stroke volume and heart rate that we come to know earlier also under immediate effects of exercises. Next is quicker recovery rate. Means the individual recovers quickly. With participation in any activity, the heart rate reaches maximum. you will be very much shocked by knowing that certain strenuous activity makes our heart rate or takes our heart rate up to 300 beats per minute. So the recovery rate, whenever our heart rate reaches to maximum, we need to give a recovery time, a resting period to the athlete so that his heartbeat comes to semi-normal state so that he can again start his training. Next is reduce risk of heart diseases. So there will be obviously a lesser chance of heart diseases when our heart is getting strengthened by regular exercise. It makes our heart risk free. So these are all the various immediate and long term effects of exercises, students, over our cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system means our heart. So moving ahead to respiratory system. So as you can see, effects of exercise on respiratory system. Now you can see the image, students. I have given you an image of the long distance runners. Long distance runners demand more endurance, and more endurance is related to our respiratory system. More the efficient our lungs would be, more oxygen will be reaching to the working muscles. So now here are the list of effects of exercises on our respiratory system. So let us discuss one by one. The first one is decrease in the rate of respiration. So with regular participation in exercises, it helps, it enables the athlete to have a command that can decrease in the rate of respiration. If we are asked to classify, categorize from a beginner to an advanced sports person, what we notice that a beginner cannot sustain for longer duration of time, because a beginner finds loss of breath at a very early stage, whereas when we compare with an advanced athlete with participation in regular exercise, regular training, his capacity to sustain for longer duration of time increases. So that is decrease in rate of respiration. Next is strengthens diaphragms and muscles. More strength is in our muscles and our diaphragm, better would be the endurance, because our working muscles, they demand endurance. More endurance they can sustain, they can work for longer duration of time, and diaphragm helps in transporting endurance to various working muscles. Next is avoid second wind. What is second wind, students? Second wind means even under the condition of fatigue, under the condition of tiredness, if an individual continues to do something energetic, then it is known as second wind. So with regular participation in exercises, it avoids the stage of second wind. Next one is unused alveoli becomes active. This is also one of the outcome of regular exercise, students, that our unused alveoli, they also become active and they help in better performance of our respiratory system. Next one is increase in endurance. So all these things, student, all these factors, all these effects of exercise, it finally come to the conclusion that our endurance will be enhanced, will be increased, and better the endurance, more better performance will be coming from within the athlete. He can perform for longer duration of time without getting tired. Next is, students, number 6, that is, yes students, next effect of exercise on our respiratory system is it increases in residual air volume. So due to regular participation of exercises, it also helps in increasing our residual air volume. It also increases in size of our lungs and chest. When the size of our lungs and chest increases, enlarge, it helps in the process of respiration, students. Next one is tidal volume increases. Now what is tidal air volume? Tidal air volume means the amount of air that flows in and out of our lungs in each quiet breathing. Quiet breathing means normal breathing. So tidal air volume also increases due to regular participation in exercises. Next one is increase in vital air capacity. Vital air capacity is just the reverse, it's the opposite of tidal air volume, students. Vital air capacity means the amount of air that can be breathed in and out from our lungs with maximum force. When we say maximum force, it means forceful inspiration and forceful expiration. That is deep breathing, students. Now deep inhalation will be followed by deep exhalation. We call it forced inspiration and forced expiration. So these are all the various effects of exercises on our respiratory system, students. Moving ahead to our next slide, that is effects of exercise on muscular system. In the image, students, you can find all these individuals. You see their body build, and they are very much having strength because their muscles are developed, and this is developed because of participation in regular exercise. Next we are going to discuss about the effects of exercise on muscular system. What are all the effects of exercises over our muscular system? So first one is change in shape and size of muscles. Due to regular exercise, due to participation in regular exercise, the size and shape of our muscles changes. The muscles gain in size. There is slight enlargement in our muscle, students. Second one is formation of more capillaries. So formation of more capillaries are taking place in our body because of participation in regular exercises. Next is it controls extra fat. Regular exercises controls the deposition of extra fat within our body. It does not allow, regular exercise does not allow the fats to get deposited in our adipose tissues. Next one is change in the connective tissue. So there is a change in our connective tissues also, students, because of regular exercises. And when there is a change in connective tissues, it leads to change in the shape and size of our muscles. Next one is efficiency in the movement of muscles. Our muscles will be having much more efficiency while movement. Our muscles can exert more force, and more force will lead to more efficiency of our muscles. Next one is it delays fatigue. When our muscle groups are developed, when they are having desired strength and endurance, it can delay the fatigue. Fatigue means lactic acid concentration starts within our body. So that phase can be delayed when, due to regular exercise, our muscle gain more strength and more endurance. Next one is non-functioning fibers become active. So because of regular exercise, our non-functioning fibers, they also get active, and that lead to better performance in the field of games and sports. Next one is body posture remains correct. So students, regular exercise, when we come to the conclusion that it develops, it enhances the strength, the power of our muscles, it will lead to better body posture also. There will be less chance of getting postural deformities, postural defects if we exercise on regular basis. Next one is it improves reflexes. Reflexes means the reflex angles, the reflex actions of our body. Due to regular exercise, our muscles remains active, which lead to better reflexes. Better reflexes, the same example, the 100-meter sprinter getting out of the starting block. If an individual is having more strength in his muscles, he can exert more force and can forcefully move out of the starting block, which is only possible by regular exercises. Next is improves lactic acid tolerance capacity. Due to regular exercise, the muscle's capacity, limitations, potentiality enhances. So when muscles potentiality, capacity to cope up enhances, naturally it improves the lactic acid tolerance capacity. Lactic acid can be tolerated for longer duration of time, which will lead to longer duration of participation in any physical activity. Our muscles can continue to work for longer duration without getting fatigue. So students, today we come to conclusion. We will be stopping up to here only. Let us have a quick review. What are all the things we have discussed today since beginning? So first of all, today we started our discussion with the physiological factors that determines various physical fitness components. We discussed the physiological factors that determine strength, endurance, speed and flexibility. Followed by that, students, we discussed the effects of exercise on our cardiorespiratory system. Cardiorespiratory system means it is the combination of cardiovascular system, that is our heart, and respiratory system. Last but not the least, we have discussed effects of exercise on our muscular system. So with this we come to the end of today's session, students. I hope this video is going to help you a lot. This is going to enrich your knowledge, which will certainly help you to write the question answers in your homework copies, as well as can clear your doubts. If you have further doubt, you can contact me personally. I will be very happy to clear your doubts, students. Thank you. Thank you to all. Stay blessed. Stay safe. God bless us all. Thank you.